Well, I'm here at Green Lakes fucking State Park because it's finally, the sun has come out. It's a little bit chilly, but the sun came out. And figured this is a good time to put these two head to head for run and gun 360 Overcapture. Of course, the 360 version of this video will be available in a link in the description for those who want to watch it. I'm not going to post that to the main thing, or maybe I will, I don't fucking know, but I'll probably post it. Anyway, as I walk down the trail and I demonstrate the stability. I want to see if I can pull off some of the same shots. I want to see how it handles the changes between the bright light and the shade. I want to see the dynamic range, how much, because it's a very high contrast day right now. It's like the worst fucking time ever to shoot any video or photography. So just overall want to test it all out. Want to see what shots I get. I was hoping for some peace, but all I could hear is that motherfucking backup noise. Hopefully when I get to the other side of the lake, that's not an issue. As I already know without even seeing the footage, there's a huge stitch problem with the Virb that the GoPro just doesn't have. So that's Mark 1 in the GoPro slot from the get-go. I already know this. So my left hand probably looks more fucked up than my right hand right now because that's the one holding the Virb. And you can see from each other camera how I'm doing it.
So the GoPro lost all of its footage from this particular sequence. Somehow during the stitching process it can't stitch the files. It says something about resolution file or resolution information missing or some horse shit. So yet another bugginess issue. Is in terms of stability, the GoPro is definitely kicking the Virb's ass in this walking situation, which you'll see shortly. But I just wanted to say real quick, in terms of reliability, the Virb works.
How's it going?
How you doing today?
I'm doing alright. How you doing?
Good. And take some pictures, huh?
Yeah, 360 test today.
And for this kind of stuff, the fucking stitch line is... this is unusable because of the stitch line. Now look how smooth this shit is right here. You know. And the picture quality, in my opinion, is better. Granted, GoPro, you can tell they upped the saturation. So you might want to drop the saturation. This is straight out of the camera here. You might want to drop the saturation in post. But the smooth, silky fucking movement while carrying it, bouncing. You see how I'm bouncing, right? Well, I'm bouncing, but the world isn't. And that makes for a much smoother experience as far as moving shots, running gun. And granted, the video quality isn't up to a 2D camera, but it's good enough. Now here, you know, I'm drawing attention to the moon, but you can't see it because the footage is blown out. So the dynamic range isn't great. It is better than the Virb, but it's also not as good as a camera with a bigger sensor. So this is what the moon really looked like via the Sony A6300 that I had with me because I was filming multiple things this day. So there's that. So it's a wash for, you know, as far as score 1 for the Virb for fucking reliability and score 1 for the GoPro for stability control.
That's what you're working on.
Doing a test between the Virb 360 and the GoPro to see which one sucks.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Pretty much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
So the stitch line here also gets in the way as far as the exposure between the lenses, and both cameras are having difficulty with this dynamic range situation.
Really fucked up if I fell in right now, huh? Anyways, I'm gonna take some additional shots. This one's high contrast with my face in shadow. I want to see which camera sucks at this and which doesn't. Hopefully it's all evenly exposed. But that's kind of the test I wanted to do. This particular vista. I'm also looking for a place where I can launch my drone without worrying about it returning to home via a tree. That may be challenging. There's got to be a clearing somewhere along the lake.
So when it comes to picture quality, GoPro wins. When it comes to exposure, GoPro wins. And I don't have to fuck with any manual settings. I don't have to come into post, although I do want to dial down the saturation. You know, the GoPro is winning. And the stitch line, like, look how far away I was standing when the stitch line fucked me up on that shot there. And there's no stitch line issues whatsoever with the GoPro. So there's a score 1 for the win there. Zooming in, just like that, you can see that there's a little bit of degradation in the GoPro, but not much, but a lot more in the Virb when you zoom in, which is a big issue I've had with it. So, but overall, the GoPro definitely gives you some slightly better picture quality. Once again, not as good as a 2D camera. Even my phone probably will outperform it. But good enough for the shots I would use it for, and that's for walking around and shit like that. Or even just some creative storytelling that doesn't require major picture quality. So you see how oversaturated those greens are. This is straight out of the camera from the GoPro. And if we flip over now, this is color corrected, as in I just upped the saturation and played with some of the exposure settings for the Virb. Looking a little bit more similar, but once again, it's not as sharp, and the dynamic range isn't as good as the GoPro. So the GoPro wins in image quality.
Today all she brought was a bag. She's, Mom, that's all I brought when I did cheer.
Hello.
Oh, what do you got out there?
It's a drone about to launch.
Oh my goodness.
land away.
Oh.
Yeah, you're good.
Where's it gonna go? Up in the air?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out over the
You
lake.
take pictures or something? Or?
Yeah, video.
Oh, that's cool. I never saw you watching. I never seen those, did you?
Well, so now that I've got the testing out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about the future of adventure videos. As many of you know, I'm planning to travel a lot, and I think I've got an idea. There'll be some more little local experiments going forward as I figure out which cameras will get the job done with the least amount of gear. So that's coming forward, but this will be like the last technical video that I do for a while. I'm going to get back into my normal regular content, as far as keto, as far as fasting, as far as minimalism, but I'm going to do my adventure videos where I kind of work the experiences that I get to have in with all the other shit that I plan on doing. Ultimately, I'm keeping the GoPro, obviously, because of its stability, its portability, and it's, able to get shots that I could not get with the 2D cameras by myself. And since I am working ultimately by myself, it's important for me to make sure that I have everything I need to get that done. This drone footage is fucking awesome, by the way. Even with the poor lighting, it did a fantastic job of capturing the frozen lake and all of the craters in the ice. It looked like a alien landscape down there. It's and it's sharing these experiences, I believe, is also a fulfilling part of any journey that you decide to take as far as lifestyle goes. I've preached a lot. I've and told you guys about going minimalist and making time for things in life, and experiences like this, this made my week. I was cooped up editing most of the rest of the week because of the weather too, not cooperating. So when I got out to do this, I felt a lot better, or a little less irritable than I have been in the past. Irritability is not something keto fixes. You can't get rid of irritability. Unfortunately, you can lessen depression and lessen stress, but ultimately, if something annoys you, it's really it's not a cure for that. So I finished flying my drone and landed it. I only did one flight because it was getting chilly. Definitely getting chilly the whole fucking time I was there. But didn't get freezing, so I didn't die or anything. I'm regretting my decision not to wear a motherfucking coat. It was 50 degrees, but as the sun is setting, and I'm still quite a ways out from the lake, so I'm still got a little bit of hiking to do in a hoodie with no gloves. It's getting chilly. Shit. Green Lakes is not it's a beautiful park, but there's a lot of people. It's not a place where you can kind of get away and, be one with your thoughts in nature, which is I like doing that. I like kind of being alone in nature sometimes. And it helps me calm me down. It helps me decompress. And, this is a Monday, and there are a decent amount of people there on a Monday. And it's a nice place to see and to hike, to practice, a lot of my stuff at. And there is camping at this park, but it's a little heavy on the people side, especially when the beach is open and full. It's a little warmer on this side of the lake. Not sure how this vlog comes out when I'm holding this. This is handheld. I can see it shaking. Probably sucks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review of the GoPro versus Virb. So far, from what I've seen, from what I've done with it, I think the GoPro is going to be the keeper. But I'm probably not going to get rid of the Virb until all the software issues are fixed with the GoPro. Because right now, the GoPro is really buggy, software-wise. And the workflow is kind of crazy in post too, with the software not quite being where it should be. So maybe they'll fix it, maybe they won't. Depends on if GoPro goes bankrupt. And if they keep doing the shit they've been doing between the Karma drone and this, I'm starting to wonder if they got a future. But we'll see. Stop fucking up, GoPro. You had a good product. Even though you got competitors that are cheaper, you still were doing it the best for a while. And now if you start going the way of Apple and putting out shit, then people will respond accordingly, and they'll buy the, $150, $200 Chinese fucking version of your camera. So that is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed this little mini adventure. As I said, now that I've figured out what I want to do, I probably won't be buying gear for a while, because between the drone and this camera, I've got my work cut out for me for a little while. And I'm probably gonna keep the Virb too, because it can't hurt to have two 360 cameras to cover the footage. I know it's not very minimalist of me, but it's nice to have more than one camera to do certain jobs. And there'll be times when I could use like 3 cameramen and it's just me, and having two 360 cameras allows me to be a cameraman in post-production. Granted, the Virb doesn't get the job done up close, but it could be used to get some footage that doesn't involve that stupid stitch line. So that's my conclusion on the GoPro versus Virb. Hope you enjoyed this little fucking adventure, and have a nice motherfucking day and shit. That was a little creepy. I gotta not be creepy anymore if I want to build the channel.